Welcome back to the Boys in Bolos podcast. We down here in the barbershop studio. Jarrett.
Jeffrey.
Are you here?
I'm here in soul, spirit, and body.
It's almost too much to handle.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
We're on couch.
I got a little chaise lounge going on here.
It's almost too comfortable. It's weird.
It's a little weird, but I'm in the corner here on the couch.
You got a nice heater for an ambiance.
It's pumping out that sweet, sweet heat.
There continues to be no windows, so it's a perfect place for kidnapping and or podcasting.
Well, we're down here and we're making it happen. That's it. We got it. It's another week in the Premier League, as they say.
So, Jeff, we had a pod ready to go last week. It was going to be great. The title was going to be, maybe you'll release it one day as a lost file. The title was going to be Berhalter is a Stooge. Now, we went in on Berhalter for about 30 minutes. I think we were both just like ripping him apart. But
the wounds are fresh, as they say.
The wounds are fresh.
Because the U.S. team just came off of a pretty embarrassing win almost, like against...
We only beat El Salvador 1-0, and we celebrated it like
Canada.
It was like we won the World Cup. And
we lost Canada.
We lost to Canada, and we beat Honduras. So on that episode, we actually went through and what we think could happen in the last games. And we don't have to do the full episode or go through this, honestly, because there's Prem stuff to talk about Champions League. We think what could happen, though, is the U.S. can still finish first if they win out their last 3 games, and Canada win and tie 2, which isn't that crazy. But anyways, why don't you tell us why you weren't able to get the episode up? You had a perfect storm of a day.
Yeah, it was actually a really nice day up in New England here. It was roughly maybe 55, 60 degrees, unseasonably warm for a February afternoon. Friday was just like a perfect storm. I was really busy at work. I couldn't do anything between the hours of 7 and 11 a.m. And then I came home and my boys had gymnastics as their gymnast boys. They run around and they do the gymnast thing.
You mean they're just almost 2 years old?
They're 2. They're not even 2.
Oh, I didn't know if you were actually taking them to gymnastics.
We did. They're in the gymnastics group now.
What is that even for 2-year-olds? What does that look like?
They just run around. They bounce around on trampolines.
And you guys pay for that?
No, it's free.
Oh, phenomenal! I was gonna say
it's pretty good.
You can send them over to my house. We could do gymnastics, quote unquote.
It's through Jenna's work, and it's free, and it was actually really fun. But anyway, that was that. And then I came home, and then my friend came over, and she was here and helping taking care of Nora. And then I tried to give her a van ride in my key van. And
so you tried to flex the van.
I tried to, because I got the van fixed recently. I replaced a water pump, and I had it idling, and I was running it in my driveway. And then I decided to go for a little test drive with my friend Erin, and she was very insistent upon coming along. And we were out probably a half a mile from my house, and the van just died. Engine died. I had to pull over to the side of the road. Luckily, I was able to get to the side of the road safely, and then I had to call AAA and tow it back the half mile to my house. I would have pushed it, but there's a hill, so I do have AAA, so I was able to get a tow, and it's back in my driveway, and I still can't figure out what's wrong with it. Tough day for me. Friday was the only day I could really work on it to get it out. It didn't happen, and so that will be a lost episode. It will be the bonus content you get in the Patreon.
I was gonna say, for all the Patreon supporters, you will find that in the new drop.
But it won't be edited. It'll be just a very raw file.
No, super raw. You'll get all the stuff Jeff and I say off mic before we start recording, which is always colorful.
It's colorful. It doesn't exactly fit the confines of the topics that we cover in this pod.
Yeah, it's a lot different. But anyways, let's look at. So we did week 25. Week 25 just happened, so we're gonna look at week 26. Even though United, I think they played a makeup game today, week 18, in which they beat Brighton Hove 2-0. And maybe we can actually start with the Champions League because that's actually fairly pertinent. And today, basically, Sporting City, Lisbon is probably not even going to play sports anymore. They're probably going to burn their stadium because City went into their house and beat them 5-0. And mind you, there is no away goals. Should there be away goals, I just think that they should be put to the sword. Anyway, PSG Real, one of my favorite games in the last 6 months. Maybe that's because there weren't that many games, but I thought it was as entertaining as the Liverpool-Chelsea game, which ended in a 2-2 tie with Pulisic tying it up in like the 80th minute. This game was back and forth, and anytime you can see Lionel Messi play Real, you have to love it because there's probably only going to be maybe, honestly, next game could be the last time that it actually happens in his career. It was an awesome game.
Strange dynamic of that game. Mbappe scored in the 93rd minute, spoiler alert, which is phenomenal because, PSG deserved to win that game. But beyond that, in all indication, it appears to me and most people on the internet and in just the sporting world that Mbappe is going to Real Madrid next year.
He's going to Real Madrid, which is a really awkward thing. So PSG, this for me is PSG's last chance to win the Champions League, probably for the foreseeable future, unless they were to honestly sell Mbappe, and I think he's going on a free, which is unfortunate for PSG's finances, unless they were to get Haaland. But I don't think Haaland's going to go to PSG.
Nope.
I don't think he's going to do that, because then when you just have Messi and Neymar, they're just not as dynamic. This is not taking anything away from Messi or Neymar, but they need Mbappe's pace. They need that young burst of pace that he has. And he's really incredible. Like, Mbappe's incredible. He's scored, I think, he's played 52 Champions League games, and I think they said he's been involved in 50 goals of the 52 games, and he personally has scored 32 goals, which is a really...
He's like 22?
He's 22. 22, 23. I mean, he's freakish, and he will be going to Real, so it's kind of serendipitous that I think he will almost single-handedly knock them out, especially when they go back to the Bernabeu. I don't see it getting much better. But this was the first games in the knockout that we've ever seen where we didn't have the away goal rule in as probably 2 decades or however long the Champions League has had that. And I don't know if that was reason enough to not make Real want to go and try to score, or whether literally they were just so outclassed all throughout the field that they couldn't. Because the 2 players that stuck out for me were Verratti and Danilo. If you watch the game, those 2 dudes were amazing. Danilo was super impressive. I knew Verratti was really impressive. Danilo was super impressive. And I think going back to the Bernabeu, I think it's going to be a really great game. And what I'd love to see is Sergio Ramos play and score against Real.
So what you're positing is that perhaps because they were away, Real Madrid just parked the booth, and they're like, well, we'll settle for a 0-0 draw?
Yeah, because there's no longer an incentive to score that away goal. And Jamie Carragher...
Totally agree with you.
You agree with me? I didn't know where you're going with that.
Because, you know what, because for a while I've kind of been like, I love that there's no away goal rule. I mean, no away goal advantage, I like how they got rid of that aspect of the competition, but now I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, well, that does give an incentive for the away team to try to play conservatively
on the road, which is what one normally does when you're away from the house. You're trying to win, but you'll settle for a tie in a competitive match. But with the away goal, it always made crazy things happen,
right? And
it set up when you had the Barcelona when they lost 4-0 to PSG. When they were home, they had to win 6-1 or whatever it was. They won 6-1. I mean, it sets up these things that are just unbelievable, and you know how many goals the team has to score to try to match, and it just sets up really fun stuff.
Do you think that they did that because UEFA thought perhaps games were going to be played behind closed doors again, and in this season, and that they wanted to kind of make it neutral on both sides? Do you think that's why they did it, and then this just kind of happened, or do you think they did it because they wanted to switch it up? Why would they make that change? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I'm trying to figure it out too, and I don't necessarily have a good reason, but I love your line of logic here, because it's like maybe UEFA is starting to think about, well, if this pandemic thing happens again, we need to create as even a playing field as possible, or something like that.
Yeah, because it seems like because of COVID and because of the uncertainty of COVID, you could get in a scenario where some teams have home fans and some teams don't.
Exactly, right? Depending upon the country.
Depending on the country.
Because England could say, yes, Chelsea can have fans, but Spain could say, Sevilla, you can't have fans. And so maybe that's what they're trying to do, but I don't
know the reasoning. I'm just putting it out there. I mean, if people want to
hit
us up and try to, if they listen to this and want to send us a message or whatever, just figure it out. Maybe there is just a reasoning behind it, behind UEFA, maybe they put a statement out there. I don't know. I haven't done a lot of research. I just know the rule changed. And I've been kind of...
I'm not sure also the reason why the rule changed. I did see that Jamie Carragher said, terrible decision to abolish the away goal rule, #Champions League, and this was in response to Somebody saying, Michael Cox saying, actually, Real Madrid playing for a 0-0 here. I've never seen them play so defensively. UEFA need to come up with some way to incentivize attacking play away from the away side in knockout games. And I just couldn't agree more. I've never seen Real Madrid be so... It's almost like they were being coached by Mourinho again in like 2013 when they would play Barcelona, and he would just pack it in and then try to play with the BBC with Bale, Benzema, and Cristiano on the counter. But that's what they were trying to do. But they have Benzema still in that scheme, and he doesn't have the legs that he used to. They have Vinicius, who's actually quite nice, and then they had Asensio. But they couldn't do it because PSG were stifling the whole game. So
they were bossing the midfield the whole game.
They were bossing. I mean, like Danilo and Verratti were just running circles. I also think that Kroos and Modric, this is probably their last season of playing at this high level. They've been playing at a very competitive level for about 8 or 9 years in that midfield with Casemiro, those three sitting. So I don't want to spend the rest of the day on the Champions League, but
Real Madrid reminds me of just like a bunch of like skillers, like a bunch of old skillers who like aren't like that. They're not quick, so they need some fresh blood in that team.
Well, that's why they're bringing in Mbappe because even if the
9 though, dude, like they need like fresh wingers.
He is a winger because Benzema could still play a 9 with Vinny and Vinny and Mbappe on this.
On the left. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So, but obviously,
they still need like fast, like quick guys. Like they don't have that.
They need somebody in the midfield that's gonna strengthen them and tighten them up.
Yeah.
And I don't know necessarily who that is, but they honestly almost need they need like an N'Golo Kante because Kroos, he's more of an 8. Casemiro will sit. Modric is up top with the 10. It's a weird vibe.
Madrid besides Mbappe, there's somebody else going to Madrid next season
that we already know about.
No, I was thinking maybe I'm just thinking Azpilicueta is going to Barcelona.
Yeah, and I thought that was a done deal, but apparently that's just rumored and they're just in talks. I already thought that was a done deal.
I thought that was too.
Yeah, I thought when I'd read it that it was a done deal because I saw some money. But anyways, neither here nor there. Tomorrow in the Champions League, we have 2 more games, and we have Salzburg versus Munich, Bayern Munich, which is going to be an interesting one, and Inter versus Liverpool. Now, I think you would assume that Bayern Munich and Liverpool win those games fairly handedly, but Salzburg's a nice team. I wouldn't count out Salzburg, and Inter can defend.
I don't think Liverpool Inter. I think Salzburg. I think Bayern will take care of Salzburg. Although Bayern has laid some goose eggs in the Bundesliga, but at the Champions League stage, I think they'll be fine. I'm more intrigued about the Liverpool game. I actually don't think that's a lock. I mean, Liverpool have been playing well. Don't get me wrong, especially like even with Salah and Mane out at AFCON, they've been playing well. I'll be interested to see the lineup. I assume it's going to be Mane, Salah, Jota tomorrow. I assume. Right?
I assume. I don't know. They may play Diaz. He's absolutely freakish, and really Klopp was super excited after the way he played in their first game because, as I'll say again, I think he's one of the most underrated players right now in a top club in the world.
So Mane sits and Diaz plays? Jota can't sit.
Jota, Diaz start, and then maybe Mane or Salah because both those guys, they just had a huge African Cup of Nations. They just had a shit ton of travel.
A ton of games.
And Egypt played a lot of Egypt was like Croatia in the 2018 World Cup, but they played a lot of the games in overtime. So Salah got almost a full game more than Mane underneath his feet. I want to ask you though, from that aside, because for those games, I mean, who do you? So I think we think Liverpool and Bayern Munich will win. Maybe the Liverpool
over the two legs. You mean?
Yeah, and even tomorrow, honestly.
I honestly think the Inter-Liverpool game could be a tie because Inter can defend, but I don't know. I don't know. I think Bayern win.
I think Bayern win
easily. I think Bayern win 2-0, but I think Liverpool maybe win 2-1.
ESPN FC came out with some numbers via 538, which is like a stats and analyst think tank essentially, and they say Man City has a 25% chance of winning. Bayern Munich has a 20% chance of winning. Liverpool 14%, Ajax 13%, Chelsea 10% because they always sleep on Chelsea. I love it. Real Madrid is 4%, PSG is 4%. I think that is exceedingly low. Atletico Madrid have 2%, Villarreal have 2%, and Inter Milan have 2%. Saying PSG is 4% and then in the same sentence saying Atletico is 2%. I don't know if these guys are actually watching the games or they're just doing some like math paper, napkin math because that's saying that PSG only has 2 times the chance to win the Champions League that Atletico. Atletico is a dumpster fire currently. Villarreal, no chance. Inter Milan is no chance. I think PSG actually has a greater chance than 4%. I'm not sure what number, but I think that they're way better than that.
Are all those numbers adding up to 100?
I think so. I'm not going to do that quick math because that's going to put me
That's
to the
some
test.
weird shit. I don't know. And also, like, whenever ESPN, is it ESPN Deportes?
ESPN FC.
ESPN FC. I don't know. ESPN FC just seems lazy. It's like they're not watching the games. You know what? Did that come out before today's game or after?
This came out a couple days ago.
Yeah.
And obviously you're going to
those chances are going to go up after they watch the PSG game.
Exactly. The other thing is PSG face Real Madrid, so that's why those chances are lower, whereas Bayern's are going to be higher. Obviously, City's going to be super high because they know they're more likely to go on to the next round. But saying who's going to win between PSG and Real is a little bit more difficult to probably for anyone really to choose because there's just so many guys you can kind of change the game. I would put my money on PSG, but pre the game today, I mean, I just think Real Madrid's looked tired for years, honestly. So,
Gareth Bale is still on that team.
You mean Gareth Baller?
I mean, yeah, when he's like playing for Tottenham, but not when he's like, I don't know. It's just, like I said before, Real Madrid just seem a little old, a little tired, a little run down.
Real Madrid's straight Vibras these days.
Yeah, it's just not good.
So I thought that those numbers were kind of whack. I think.
Wait, who got the 25% chance?
City.
Yeah,
That's obvious. I think Chelsea's higher than 10%. My personal opinion. I think PSG's way higher than 4%. This doesn't add up. I just did the math. Comes out to about 90. So they're giving they give like Sporting probably like a 0.05% because they have to give them some percent. But
honestly, yeah, City looked. We watched the highlights before the pod like today, and I know Sporting's not like on the same level even as most Premier League teams, but they looked City looked freakish. Like Sterling scored a worldie. Sterling scored a worldie from like 20 yards out that I've never seen him score. Like I've never seen him score like that before.
If you haven't seen that, go fire up YouTube. City, Sporting, what's his name? Sterling. It was fire goal. It was just as good, maybe not just as good, but on the level of Ziyech's goal against Tottenham.
Here's my theory about that. He can only score like that when it's not clutch.
For sure.
Because here's the thing, they were up 4-0.
Oh, it's the Lukaku syndrome. Lukaku scores goals all the time when it doesn't matter. Now, he did score in the Club World Cup, so I should draw that back a little bit. But I feel the same way about Lukaku.
Look at Sterling. Sterling was very good in the Euro, but he didn't score a lot of goals, right? I mean, he had assists and he caused problems. But he's a bottler when it comes to clutch situations. He'll kick the ball over the net at the 6-yard line. You know what I mean?
That's why City doesn't scare me in the Champions League.
Right.
I'm as a Chelsea fan, I'm honestly, line us up. I'm ready. I know Pep won't make the same problem last time where he basically played 6'10s up top and he didn't put Rodri in to help out. But it doesn't matter. I'm ready. Line us up. Because they're going to underestimate us again. And it's over 2 legs. And beating us in the bridge these days with Mendy in goal, if we play a 5, the 3-back, or you're
talking about a semifinal though.
I'm talking about next round, even the round of 8. I'm talking about whatever.
Round of 8, but I mean the final is going to be a 1 game.
Right. If we play them again in the final, that's going to be crazy because, I mean, God, if City lose back to Chelsea, that's.
But you guys can match. But 2 English teams can match up in the semi.
Oh, for sure, and even in the round of 8,
quarter in the semi,
just not in the round of 16. You can't have same country or same group. But anyways, let's move on to actually, before we go, Chelsea won the Club World Cup. We've now won all 7 titles that we could possibly win ever in our history. Thanks. But let's move on.
Club World Cup is ridiculous, by the way.
Club World Cup is like a big cup, but also no one really cares. Let's move on to week 26 in the Prem. We've just got over week 25 where Chelsea and Arsenal didn't play, so we'll have to play again. And this is a shout out to Thierry, Dennis, or Drew, or really anybody, any Arsenal fan. John Scheimer, I'm down to make more bets with Chelsea and Arsenal. Week 26, we got some games. You ready, Jeff, for these games?
Let's fire up the old iPhone.
Fire up the old apps.
So I can look at, okay, yep.
West Ham, Newcastle at London Stadium. I'm going to go with Newcastle just because I love an upset. And West Ham's trending down.
No, I'm going to go West. I'm going to, actually, you know what? I'm going to go 1-1 draw because Newcastle's favorite right wing back, Kieran Trippier, is injured for the rest of the season. Out.
Very dark.
Broken foot.
Eesh. I would like
surgery.
I want you to make all your decisions this week off where you'd put your money, and I'm going to make all my decisions of where I put my emotions.
I like it. I like it.
So
That's a good
I want
theme.
Newcastle. My emotions want Newcastle. I want the Trippier. I want them to lift him up. They're all going to have like, oh, get better Trippier jerseys.
So you're rooting for Newcastle not only to just like win the game, but also get out of relegation, get back into that lower mid table.
Yeah, I'm going for the personal, the human interest story, the emotional.
Okay,
story.
So I'm going for the betting line story.
You're going for you have $1,000 and a gun to your head.
I'm going draw, like 1-1 draw, dude.
I'm going 1-0 Newcastle, upset at London Stadium.
Because you said so. This is how I feel about it. Newcastle's slowly trending up, and West Ham's slowly trending down, and they're going to meet in the middle at a 1-1 draw.
I think it's brilliant. Next game, Southampton versus Everton. It's at St. Mary's. I'm going, I don't know, man. What's my emotions telling me? I want to see Everton do better.
You like Frank. You're a Frank guy.
Oh, you mean Franklin? I told you. I only refer to him as Franklin now. Franklin Lampard. Everton's coach. Franklin Lampard.
Mr. Lampard.
Franklin Lampard the fifth.
So you're rooting for Lampard's success. You're rooting for Dele Alli's success.
I'm gonna Dele
Alli's success. You're rooting for Donny Van de Beek's success.
There you go. Now you're talking about the big chief. I'm gonna go 1-1 on my emotions because I also think that Southampton are very fun at St. Mary's. I'm gonna go 1-1 draw. Franklin's gonna do his like normal like Rafa Nadal like arm jab to the air. 1-1.
Southampton they beat Spurs 3-2 last weekend, which is very sad for me, but. The big thing for me are Southampton hitting above their weight? Are teams just playing down to Southampton? Are Everton really shit? Like, I don't know any of these answers. I don't have any of the answers. To make a bet on this, I would also have to go with the 1-1 draw because, honestly, by all accounts, both teams are dog shit. They have Dele Alli coming off the bench in the 60th minute. You got James Ward-Prowse bailing out Southampton anytime they ever need.
Both teams are dog shit. That's the roughest
take.
They
are, dude. They are both
roughest take.
Dog shit Premier League teams. Let's just
Where are they? Everton is currently in 16th. Newcastle's in 10th, dude. You got to go easy with Newcastle.
Wait. Southampton's in 10th.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. Everton's in 16th.
Yeah, they're probably separated by 6 points, though, right?
7 points, but Southampton's in 10th. And... You know, they're not that bad. They're only...
Yeah, I know. For a team that I thought was going to get relegated...
I think even Everton fans can agree. Exactly. I think even Everton fans can agree that right now Everton is dog shit.
I would say,
Southampton's
I think
dog
Southampton
shit.
is actually punching above their weight.
Yeah, I was going to say, they're overachieving.
They're overachieving. I actually honestly think the more James Ward-Prowse does well, the more screwed they are. And this is why. Not for this season. But because that guy is the best free kick taker and ball distributor, I think, in the Premier League, and possibly the world. I'm not. That's not hyperbole. The guy is unbelievable at distributing the ball and taking free kicks. So if they think they're going to hold on to him for much longer before a big ass club tries to pick him up,
a big ass club,
they are sadly mistaken because a team will come along and pay a price that they cannot refuse.
You act like Southampton are like little baby chicks, and then a big club is like pterodactyl, and they come by and and they just pick them up.
They drop a little sack of money that like when they do the transaction.
They drop some pesos in a burlap bag.
That's all I'm saying, dude. Like Southampton, there's going to be a price where they say, all right, we got to let James Ward-Prowse go. And James Ward-Prowse is going to say, I want to play Champions League football.
I will believe it when I see it.
There's going to be a point where he's going to say,
I just feel like he's like a
worldies.
But I feel like he's like a James Maddison. He's really, really good, but for some reason, the bigger clubs just don't want him. Because I don't understand. Like I think James Maddison should be honestly pulling 10 for Chelsea, but Chelsea just won't buy him. Like there's deeper statistics there that don't allow those two players to advance. Because I agree,
he's not because James Ward-Prowse isn't a box-to-box midfielder, and he can't hold possession. He gets the ball and he'll make a couple plays, but besides that, he's invisible. He'll make you pay, but he's not going to dominate the middle of the field. Fine, but I am saying that Southampton's got They've got a James Ward-Prowse like kind of problem.
Are we going? They don't have a problem.
Yes.
Are we going? Can we go to 1-1? Otherwise, we're going to be down here forever. People got things to do. People got things to do.
It's the wound's still fresh from the Southampton loss.
Everyone knows, Jeff. Everyone freaking knows. The next game, Liverpool Norwich. I am going to go on my emotions, and this is at Anfield, and I think Liverpool are going to run just show, and I think 3-0, easy. Norwich is honestly playing with everyone's emotions because it's like, are we relegated? Are we not? Are we going to be competitive? Are we not? Are we fighting? Are we not? But I think it's at Anfield. Liverpool are still actually in the title race, in my opinion, and I do believe that they will take care of business.
Agree.
Oh, wow.
3-0, though.
3-0.
Yeah.
The next game is Chelsea versus Crystal Palace. I personally hate playing Crystal Palace, especially at Selhurst, because while it is a derby, that's where AFC Richmond play. Hashtag Lasso, Ted, Led Tasso.
Hashtag Beard.
Hashtag the Beard. Hashtag Jamie. What was Jamie's last name?
I don't remember.
Jamie Tot.
Jamie Tot.
Anyways, I'm going to go Chelsea strictly on straight vibes and Bibras. I'm going to go 2-0. Both goals.
My question
not
to you.
from Lukaku.
I got one question for you.
One answer.
Who starts in goal?
Mendy. For Sheezy.
But Kepa.
No.
But Kepa's
No.
cup. Kepa's cup.
Yeah, Kepa plays in the...
He had a crazy save in that game.
Oh, for sure. Kepa in the semifinal had an amazing save. But when push came to shove and we actually played a real team, Mendy plays. Mendy is arguably...
Okay, he's the best.
Mendy's had one of the best...
in the world. All right.
Yeah,
fine.
I think right now Mendy's the best in the world.
So what did Chelsea do about Kepa? Did they sell him? Are they just
Kepa
pumping?
loves the bench, dude. Loves the bench.
Is Kepa's value slowly rising?
I think it is, and I think Chelsea don't want to mess that up. And it's about $5 million right now. We're just trying to make sure it goes up.
I think it's more than $5 million.
10 million?
I think there aren't as many goalkeepers that are able to play at a Premier League level that you think. And Kepa's value is more like $25 million.
That's probably accurate, but I think Chelsea don't want to let that go down because we bought him for $88 million or something like that.
Right. Is it one of those situations where they got caught holding the bag and they can't get rid of him?
Yeah, and I think that it's okay. If Kepa's fine being 2 and Mendy wants to be 1, that could be a situation where you don't have to worry about goalies for 4 or 5 years if they both are comfortable with that. Mendy's had such a freakish last, 10 months.
I know Kepa's been kind of laying low, tail between his legs because he's been humble.
But he's not because he plays in the Carabao. I think he plays in the FA, and he got to play in the Club World Cup a little bit. I think that actually Tuchel has struck a really nice balance with appeasing both of them, and Kepa's very comfortable knowing that Mendy is 1. And I think this is the only way, by being 2, is the only way Kepa actually gets back in the Spanish national team. David De Gea, man. They don't really have crazy amounts of top goalies right now.
Well, although David De Gea has been keeping Man United in the Premier League top 4.
Yeah, but he also has howlers. Enough that he was dropped and is not Spain's number 1.
Sure. But here's the thing. Does management push for Kepa to go somewhere else, get their money back, to use the money on something else?
I don't think we need the money right now. I think we're winning a bunch of tournaments. I think everything's good. The vibes are great.
These are questions I ask because I am thinking as a Premier League, apparently as a board member, not as a fan. I don't know why this is happening, but I'm just asking. I'm just asking the Chelsea fan.
Yeah, I think he's totally fine. Number 2, and I think he understands what's going on. I mean, Mendy won the Champions League. Mendy won the Super Cup. Mendy won the Club World Cup. Mendy's just won AFCON. He is right now the best goalie in the world. He was named the best keeper of the world last year in 2021, and I don't see that ending. And anytime Chelsea get a good goalie, we do crazy things. We appear check, we do crazy things. Anyways, let's move forward though. Brighton Hove. Where am I? Brighton Hove Albion versus Burnley. This is a game that I think Brighton Hove win because Burnley is the complete dumpster fire. I'm gonna go just strictly vibes. I also just like Sean Dyche when he loses. So this is my emotional bid. He comes up with the craziest his pressers are legendary. And Graham Potter's kind of just like Harry Potter's kind of boring. So I'm going to go 2-0 Brighton Hove. Seagulls. What?
All right. Yeah, I would agree with that. Neil Mbappe, man of the match.
I'm dead.
Putting money in that.
Next game, Aston Villa versus Watford. This will be played at Villa Park. I don't even know. I mean, like both these teams, Watford the whole year has, they're in second to last, so they're just kind of there. And Aston Villa are starting to punch up, and they're starting to kind of get up a little bit. But
how can you not pick Aston Villa for this game?
Oh, I'm picking Aston Villa. I'm just feeling like maybe I like the vibes of Watford. Like the
what vibes do you like? Them sucking, the suck vibes,
the suck vibes,
the shit vibes. They're getting relegated. They're back down in the championship. Philippe Coutinho. Aston Villa.
I'm going Aston Villa 2-1.
No, Watford doesn't even have a goal in them. I'm saying
2-0.
Yeah. 2-0.
All right. Next game, Arsenal Brentford. The first time these guys played, they played at Brentford Stadium. This kicked off the season, and Brentford won, I believe, 2-0. However, a lot has happened since. This game will be at the Arsenal home stadium. Why can't I think of the name of it? Thank you, the Emirates.
Jesus.
It will be at the Emirates. Arsenal have a bunch of games in hand, so even though they're in sixth, if they were to win all those games, I think they can be as high as third. If not, I think as high as third. So this is a game that Arsenal needs to win if they are serious about Europe. If they lose this game, I don't really think that Europe's real for them anymore because I think Wolves are getting
better.
Wolves are getting better every week. Tottenham's still good. Brighton Hove's going to be annoying. Leicester still hasn't even hit stride if they're going to. So my emotional plea, what does my emotional plea says? It says
Arsenal lose?
It says Arsenal and Brentford tie because this is what Arsenal's going to start to do. So it's going to start to break all the Gunner hearts out there.
Because here's the thing. Even when Arsenal won last week, it was they won 1-0 and they still got a red card and they barely held on to win. It was a typical Arsenal performance, and I think people are going to be not pleased with me saying that Arsenal are still meh. Just kind of meh. And they're like kind of like at the top of the heap of the mediocrity right now. You know what I'm saying? Like there are a bunch of there's City, Liverpool, Chelsea, and then everyone else.
And then Sludge.
And I include Arsenal, and I include Tottenham, and I include Wolves, and I include United, all in that sludge. And who's going to get to that fourth spot? Nobody knows. And that's what's going to be exciting in the last half of the season is it going to be who's going to be the one to figure out how to stop being so fucking mediocre and like so Jekyll and Hyde. Like before Spurs lost 2 games, they looked great. You thought, oh man, they got a chance at top 4, right? And they still could because they got games in hand. You think it might sometimes be Arsenal. They got it figured out with Martinelli, and they got finally got rid of Aubameyang, and they got some solid defense. But then they make bonehead. They just do dumb shit. They get red cards and they fuck up.
February historically for me, looking at Arsenal objectively, has always been the month where they really just shit the bed. Pardon my Spanish. Because this is normally the month where they get to the round of 16 and they get bounced out normally by Barcelona or by Bayern. They always, when Arsenal were in the Champions League, they'd always end up with some juggernaut in the round of 16. And honestly, it never seemed fair, even as an outsider. So they would get bounced there. They would probably get bounced in the FA Cup. And they would have a player or two that had to go to AFCON or was on a way and would get hurt. And then they would have to like flex their depth. And Arsenal since maybe 2006, 2000, like early, like before 2010, they really haven't had a bench since. They've always struggled with so many injuries. One of the best players, I think, in the Premier League to come overseas to the Prem was Santi Cazorla. And he was always hurt in the Arsenal jersey. Could not get healthy. Just couldn't find health. Would be out for years, and it was just so sad. And so this is between mid-March, which is what we are, mid-February to mid-March, is really where I'm going to know whether I'm going to win my bet with John. It's this game right here is going to be telling. That's why I think it's going to be 1-1 with Arsenal-Brentford.
I mean, I'd love to see Brentford win. That's just me as a Spurs fan. I also like to see Brentford win because I think Christian Eriksen will play.
He had an assist in a junior game or a under whatever game.
It was like a behind closed doors.
Yeah, it was
friendly.
It was like a friendly, just on like a practice pitch, and that looked nice because it was good to see him out there and play. I mean, he still has so much quality. So if he can get his lungs behind him and his heart, cooperates, he's like one of the cheaper buys, maybe in Prem history, only due to his very unique circumstances.
Sure, and so my heart says I want Brentford to win. Their form says Arsenal will win. So I'm going to split the difference and go 1-1 tie.
Nice. Next game, City versus Spurs. This is a tough one because you guys have had a tough
form.
go at it as of late. Let's look at your last couple of games. They're not maybe things you want to look at, but we're going to look at them anyways because I saw a meme today and it was pretty rough.
3-2 loss to Wolves.
So you lost 2-0 to Chelsea, you lost 3-2 to Southampton, and you lost 2-0 from Wolves, and then you play City. The next week you get to play Burnley, so hopefully that will be a little reprieve. But what's going to happen in this City game because you guys are playing at the Etihad?
I mean, I don't think the venue matters too much because it's the Etihad, but I mean, there will be a lot of Spurs fans there. I mean, there's not. I don't think that's the problem. I think they would lose to City. I think the outcome of the game would be pretty much the same if they played at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, if they played at the Etihad, just because of Spurs form and City's form. The only thing I have to say, and it might not even make a difference because City's freakish, but Spurs have been without. I know this is gonna sound fucking wild. This is gonna sound wild coming from my mouth. Is that they've been without Eric Dyer for weeks, and without Dyer and Romero, they've looked dog shit. Dog shit. They've given up 13 goals. With Dyer, basically like 5 goals. Something crazy. Like some crazy. I think we've mentioned this in the pod before, but Dyer may be one of the best center backs, English center backs, in the Premier League right now.
It's definitely not Harry Maguire.
It's not Maguire.
It's not Slabhead.
It's not Slabby. It's not Nathan Ake. It's not.
Nathan Ake can't even play in practice these days at City.
Yeah, it's brutal, dude. Like
it's like Tyrone Mings and what's the dude that Arsenal paid $1 billion for? Ben. Why can't I think
White.
Ben White.
So either way, I think that Eric Dyer is not really the best defender per se. He works well in Conte's 3-back, but he's a good leader, and they've been missing the leadership. So I don't think it's going to be a dumpster fire, but I don't think they're going to win. Like I don't think it's going to be a 5-0 like Sporting Lisbon, drubbing, because that was rough today. They looked terrible. So I think Lloris will make some saves. I think that Dyer and Romero will keep Mahrez and Sterling at bay. But they'll still lose. They'll still lose like probably 2-0, maybe 2-1.
I'd say 2-0.
Yeah.
But I think that there's a chance in there that Spurs could upset because Spurs have beat City recently, like in recent history. And I think City will also be coming off feeling super like they can take over the world after beating the shit out of Sporting. And I also think Pep may play a different lineup.
Sure.
So that may help, like rotation helps. Next game is the United's Leeds versus Manchester United. This game is going to be at Ellen Road, and I want to look and see where they are. So Manchester United is currently in 4th. They are moving on up, and Leeds is in 15th. I'm going to go emotional here, and I want to see Leeds make sure they stay in the Prem and they stay away from this crazy relegation battle that it will be. I'm going to say Leeds are going to win 1-0. 2-1 because actually I don't think if Ronaldo plays, I don't think they can maybe keep him out, but I'm going to go 2-1 Leeds. What do you think on that?
I mean, that's like the more logical decision. Wait. That's not logical. The logical decision is to pick United because, I mean, they're United, but I would say Leeds.
Yeah, mine was an emotional decision. They're at home, and I don't want to see them relegated. It's not based on facts, form, or anything else.
I mean, Leeds beat West Ham recently. They just tied Aston Villa 3-3. I think perhaps Leeds can score a couple goals. I'm going to go 2-2 tie. 2-2 tie.
That's still, if it's a 2-2 tie, maybe one of the best games of the week. The final game of the week is Wolves versus Leicester. Now, I want to see Leicester do better. The problem is they're dog shit.
They're dog shit.
So this is at the Molineux. Wolves will win this game probably 2-1 or 2-0. Wolves look really good. However, Leicester looked super good in a game I recently saw them. Who did I see them play? Why can't I think of this? I have to look back at who they just played.
All right, this is my question to you about Wolves.
Oh, against West Ham. Against West Ham, Leicester I thought that they looked quite nice, and they didn't even have Vardy.
Well, they're not going to have Vardy because Vardy's not around. I mean, Vardy's hurt, right?
Vardy's at the pub.
Okay, let's get back to the Leeds-Leicester game. I mean, Wolves-Leicester game. Are Wolves actually good? This is the question. Are Wolves good? Are Wolves good? Because, like, right now, they're, like, pushing top 4. They're, like, one of the teams talking, like, what?
I think Wolves.
What is happening?
I think Wolves are actually good.
Like, I know they're good defensively. They're good defensively.
If they're good defensively, then they're good.
Right.
Like, straight up. And I think Ruben Neves has been one of the most underrated players of the season. I think Podence is one of the most annoying players to play against because the dude's like a 4'5" stump, and he'll just totally like get by you every time. If Raul Jimenez can start to fire, as he has been more recently, that is a problem. This is a team that lost Adama Traore. This is a team that lost Jota. This is a team whose 9 got his skull cracked and is still probably only about 65-70%. They are way overachieving, because if they were to finish 4th, let's live in that world where they finish 4th, then they finish over Manchester United, which has $800 million in their clubhouse. They finish over West Ham, Arsenal, Tottenham, Leicester, Everton. I mean, they finish over clubs that have invested a lot of money. There was a thing that came out and was talking about all the clubs and how much money they'd spend. Everton's high up there. Everton has had some very, very bad business. Probably not surprising to hear if you're an Everton fan, but for me as not an Everton fan, I hadn't been looking at their trades and like their income and what that looks like. All that is to say, whatever Wolves is doing as a club is clearly shining through, because they even have a new coach. They don't even have Nuno Espirito Santo. So whatever they're doing at the club is really great, because I think they're overachieving. And like you said, if they have a good defense, then they have a good team.
But when does it come crashing down? That's what I'm trying to say.
I don't think it comes crashing down. I think what happens is, like you said, you have City, Liverpool, and Chelsea, and then the Sludge, and they just might be the best of the Sludge.
Right. And I guess it goes back to my question. Are they the best of the Sludge? What team is the best of the Sludge? And who can figure out what of the teams of Spurs, Arsenal, Wolves, and maybe United and West Ham? Who are going to be what team does it have the components to be the best of those teams?
I have no idea. I'd say it's not United.
On paper, you think it would be United.
On paper, you think it would be United. I also like how I say I have no idea, and then I make an assertion that it's not United. But I just don't. The thing with United is, like, it's still Ronaldo vibes. Like,
it is.
they're still hoping that Cavani and Ronaldo experience them out of the way. Because Rashford, that dude's a shell of himself. Martial's gone, who's now playing super well and getting standing ovations at Sevilla. Greenwood is on rape charges, so we don't know when he's going to be back.
He's not coming back.
Jadon Sancho probably doesn't even want to play anymore, because now he's like, he's just been neglected, which is insane. I think maybe that wasn't his best decision to go to United. So I don't think it's United. I think it's probably Arsenal, Wolves, or West Ham. But United have a GOAT. So I don't know.
Yeah, I honestly don't think it's West Ham. Their poor form has just totally affirmed basically everything I've thought about West Ham in the past year or so, especially when they've been getting a little bit better, especially making the Europa League. My biggest surprise is honestly Leicester, like, being the shit, but it might honestly, Arsenal sometimes seem like a dumpster fire, or United seem like a dumpster fire. I have a hope that Tottenham can figure it out under Conte, but they're still Tottenham, and it's like their own worst enemy. Honestly, it may be Wolves. Honestly, it may be fucking Wolves.
If it is Wolves, honestly, I'd rather have it be Wolves than United or Arsenal or West Ham.
Too.
And just it is what it is. But the season's got a long way to go. Chelsea's above the Sludge. But honestly, like, we still have problems scoring goals. We're probably one of the best defenses, top 5 on the planet. We've got, we got some ballers. And, like, we just won the Club World Cup. Not saying that was great, but Palmeiras is a team. And we didn't even play Jorginho to the 80th minute. He was 3rd in the Ballon d'Or. And we didn't even have Chilwell or Reece James play.
Yeah, but they're not.
I know. I'm just saying, like, we have so much talent that wasn't even on the field throughout that entire game. So I'm saying Chelsea, for me, could finish 4th, 3rd, or even 5th. That's still to be seen, in my opinion.
Yeah, but who's going to rise above Chelsea? to claim the third place spot.
Chelsea could just get super mediocre and just drop points as they have the whole season and just kind of just be shit.
Who's third? Who would be rising to third? You mean they would just be kind of like in the sludge with everybody else?
They would just be passive, and they're just going to tie a Brentford. They're going to tie this team. They're going to drop points to Crystal Palace this weekend, which they shouldn't, but maybe they do because Selhurst has not been kind to us. But anyways, let's look at fantasy, and this will take 5 seconds. Oz is still in the lead. Nick Bailey and Mitch are in second and third. Jeff, you are in sixth. I somehow have dropped to 11th. Super embarrassing. Now 3 points behind El Pibe de Oro, Diego. And I just wrapped up fantasy. Someone's got to beat Oz.
It's not going to happen, I don't think, because he's actually trying now.
Well,
I mean, that's it. That's all we got.
Ciao.
Ciao. Thanks for listening to the Boys and Bolos podcast. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Patreon, Twitch at Boys and Bolos.
If you'd like to be a guest, please reach out. You can hit us on any of the social media accounts that Jeff just mentioned, or email us directly at boysandbolos@gmail.com.
Thanks for listening, and see you next time.